So, do elections impact the housing market? Hi, I'm Kevin Fleetwood, your local Atlanta, Georgia realtor. The 2024 presidential election is just months away. As someone who's thinking about potentially buying or selling a home, you're probably curious about what effect, if any, elections have on the housing market. It's a great question because buying or selling a home is a major decision. And it's natural to wonder how such a major event might impact your plans. Historically, presidential elections have only a small temporary impact on the housing market. Here's the latest on exactly what happens to home sales, prices, and mortgage rates throughout those time periods. Home sales during the month of November, in years when a presidential election takes place, there's typically a slight slowdown in home sales. As Ali Wolf, chief economist at Zonda, explains, usually home sales are unchanged compared to a non-election year, with the exception being November. In an election year, November is slower than normal. This is mostly because some people feel uncertain and hesitant about making a big decision during such a pivotal time. However, it's important to know this slowdown is temporary. Historically, home sales bounce back in December and continue to rise the following year. In fact, data from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, tongue-tied, better known as HUD, and the National Association of Realtors, better known as NAR, shows that after 9 of the last 11 presidential elections, home sales went up the next year. Take a look at this graph. The graph shows annual home sales going back to 1978. Each year with a presidential election is noted in blue. The year immediately after each election is green if existing home sales rose that year. The two orange bars represent the only years when home sales decreased after an election. So what about home prices? Do they drop during election years? Not typically. As a residential appraiser and housing analyst Ryan Lundquist puts it, an election year doesn't alter the price trend that is already happening in the market. Home prices are pretty resilient. They generally rise year over year regardless of elections. The latest data from NAR shows after 7 of the last 8 presidential elections, home prices increased the following year. Take a look at the graph. Just like the previous graph, this shows election years in blue. The only year when prices declined after an election is in orange. That was during the housing market crash, which was far from a typical year. Today's market is different than it was back then. All of the green bars represents when prices rose the following year. So if you're worried about your home losing value because of an election, you can rest easy knowing prices rise after most presidential elections. Mortgage rates. Well, mortgage rates are important because they affect how much your monthly payment will be when you buy a home. Looking at the last 11 presidential elections, data from Freddie Mac shows mortgage rates decreased from July to November in 8 of them. Take a look at the chart. Most forecasts expect mortgage rates to increase slightly throughout the remainder of the year. If they're right, this year will follow the trend of declining rates leading up to the most previous election. And if you're looking to buy a home in the coming months, then this could be good news, as lower rates could mean a lower monthly payment. So, what's the big takeaway? While presidential elections do have some impact on the housing market, the effects are usually small and temporary. As Lisa Sturvent, chief economist at Bright MLS, says, historically, the housing market doesn't tend to look very different in presidential election years compared to other years. For most buyers and sellers, elections don't have any major impact on their plans. Bottom line, while it's natural to feel a bit uncertain during an election year, history shows the housing market remains strong and resilient. If you have questions, reach out to me or my team at 404-410-6024. We are real estate practitioners that assist home buyers and sellers in Metro Atlanta, Georgia, and its local areas. We are here to help you navigate the market, election year or not. I look forward to servicing you.